So we are on our third day of work. I want to give you a progress review on where we are. At this point, we have completed the floor, we have completely completed the back wall, and we're working on one of the side walls. Left to do is another side wall, a ceiling, and then a front with a door, and then we'll do a bunch of internal stuff. Let's take a look at where we are right now. So if we take a look at the floor, you can see the different layers here. So starting on the bottom, the little black squares, those are the U-boat floor floaters. On top of that is 2x6. And then on top of that is a 3/4 inch OSB plywood. Let's see, actually below that plywood is that thin layer. You see, maybe you can barely see a little black line. That's the vinyl. So it goes 2/6 stud, the vinyl acoustic barrier, then the 3/4 inch OSB. Then you'll see some foam. That's about a 1/2 inch. Just regular carpet foam is what I'm using. And then to finish it is a 1/2 inch piece of OSB. All of those things together. And that's a height, I believe it's 7 3/4 height. So I'm using 60 of those little floaters. So this is basically not touching the floor directly, but through those floaters. I also have a little plastic there because we decided that for a little extra protection of the fiberglass, there is our R19 fiberglass in there. Just to make sure, since it's kind of hanging out there, and to seal it, we put a little piece of plastic, tacked a piece of plastic all around it. So that is the floor. If you take a look here at the wall here that we're constructing, right now on the outside we have a 1/2 inch piece of sheetrock, and then the 2x4 stud work. You'll see all this this white substance here is that acoustic sealant, and you'll see we're using a generous amount of acoustic sealant throughout this project. This wall right here, this is the back wall. This is actually completely finished. So on this wall, on the outside, we have 1/2 inch piece of sheetrock, then the vinyl acoustic barrier, then we have the 2x4 structure with R13 fiberglass insulation. So that's this nasty pink stuff right here. Then we have another piece of sheetrock, and then we put a second set of sheetrock, but between the internal two pieces of sheetrock, we put that Quiet Glue Pro dampening stuff. You'll see here is this foil. This is that foil tape, and so we're not using, as I mentioned before, we're not actually using mud and tape to seal the walls, but instead we're using acoustic sealant wherever the seam comes together, and then we're covering it with this aluminum foil tape. Well, after the end of day 4, you can see we've made some really great strides, and so I thought I'd give you an update on where we are. All of the framing is completed, and now I'm working on some finishing. And as I come through here, I'll open up the door. Let's take a look inside. At this point, I have 2 walls that are finished, actually 3. So this side wall, the back wall, and the ceiling are all, actually the ceiling isn't, but the side wall and the back wall are finished. The ceiling just needs one more layer of drywall with some quiet glue. And then you'll see this side wall, I have a lot of work to do. We did do a partial, we did hang the door, and that's all level and working well. But what I thought I'd do is show you on this side wall more of the construction. And so you can see here we have the 2x4 structure, followed by R13 insulation, and then this is that vinyl DB3 vinyl acoustic barrier that I've put up. And the next job on this wall is going to be finishing the vinyl on this side, and then putting one set of drywall, then some quiet glue, and the final set of drywall. On this front wall here, I need to put some vinyl down, and then another set of, actually I don't need to put vinyl on this one. I put vinyl on the outside, so I just need to put a second coat of drywall, a second layer of drywall with some quiet glue on the inside. How soon I forget. So that's what I'm going to be working on now. Other things to notice, you'll see as you look around the top here, see all of these gaps on the sheetrock? So there are generous gaps, and they're anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch, and in those areas is where I'm going to be putting a very generous amount of acoustic sealant. You'll notice also on the floor there's a place for acoustic sealant as well. I did want to take just a second to show you this Quiet Glue Plus. So at this point on the wall, I've got my first layer of drywall down. The next thing I'm going to do is put my second sheet of drywall up. And this orange stuff is the Green Glue Plus. And I put 2 tubes of it per 4-foot by 8-foot sheet. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this against the wall, and then that orange stuff is going to cure and create a sound dampening barrier. We can start talking about some soundproofing now, and the first thing that I'm working on is this false ceiling. And what I'm going to do is, since I don't want to have a parallel ceiling and floor, I've put together a false ceiling, and hopefully you can see from the construction, I just made a framework out of 1x2, and then I screwed some 1/2 inch drywall, and that's all I need. I don't need anything stronger than that. And I'm going to lift this in position so that it is at about a 5% decline. And once I do that, you should see that the floor and the ceiling will no longer be at a parallel relationship, and that should help out some of my sound. This is what the false ceiling looks like after it's installed, and you see it's actually just floating in there. I put another piece of 1x2, just tacked it into the studs on the back, and then on the front, which you can't see, it's hidden, is another 1x2 holding it at that angle. So it represents a really nice clean look, but a very effective look. You will notice off to the left-hand side here, there is quite a bit of a gap I have on that side. And the reason I did that is, in that back corner is where my chimney spout is for my ventilation system. So I wanted a little gap there to help facilitate airflow.